The chamber of the Galactic Peace Hall had stood silent for centuries. Its crystalline walls had witnessed the rise and fall of alliances, the trembling signatures of rulers, and the soft murmurs of diplomats who feared the weight of history for 900 years. The ancient peace between Earth and the Galactic Empire had endured undisturbed, not by accident, but through discipline, restraint, and the will of a single species that had learned what war cost long before the stars opened to them. At the center of the hall, General Mira of Earth stood tall. She wore the deep blue uniform of the Terran United Defense, a symbol recognized across the galaxy. She had been invited to this meeting by the Empire itself, a rare event, and one that had stirred rumors throughout the diplomatic circuits. Humans did not seek conflict. Humans did not provoke the Empire. Humans simply existed at the edge of the galaxy with a quiet confidence that was as unnerving as it was admirable. The Empire delegation arrived last. Dozens of towering figures clad in shimmering armor passed through the archway. Their faces were hidden behind ornate masks. At their center walked Lord Aerith, the supreme voice of the Empire. He was known for his strict adherence to tradition and his obsession with dominance. He never hid his distrust of Earth. He believed humans were unpredictable, too adaptable, too calm for a species that had faced extinction more times than any record could hold. General Mira bowed politely. Lord Aerith nodded with cold courtesy. The hall lights dimmed, signaling the beginning of the negotiation. The discussion started with ceremonial greetings, exchanged in perfect order. For hours they debated border territories, mining rights, and travel permissions. Mira spoke with measured clarity. Her voice remained steady even under the subtle hostility directed her way. She represented Earth, a world that valued diplomacy above pride. The Empire delegation, however, seemed restless. Shifts in posture, tensions under their armor, whispers that had nothing to do with the treaty. Mira sensed it. Something was wrong. During a scheduled recess, she stepped aside near a balcony overlooking the vast starfield of the capital nebula. She spoke quietly with her aide, a young officer named Alec. He too felt the pressure in the room, something heavy and unnatural. They observed the Empire guards moving with sharp discipline, as if expecting violence rather than peace. When the recess ended, both sides returned to the circular table at the center. The floor beneath them glowed faintly, displaying shifting patterns that reflected the harmony intended by the hall's builders. But harmony fled the moment Aerith lifted a small device from his cloak. A shimmering hologram appeared, displaying a disputed star system. He pointed at a small planet. He claimed humans had violated Empire territory by sending explorers without approval. Mira responded calmly, stating the explorers were aiding a local colony in distress. Her tone remained respectful, but Aerith's voice rose, dripping with accusation. His guard stiffened. Mira stood her ground. Her calmness seemed to enrage him, and it happened in a single flicker of movement. One of the Empire guards raised an energy lance. The shot lanced across the hall, striking Mira directly below her collar. Alec shouted. Diplomats gasped. The crystalline walls vibrated as the sound echoed through the chamber. General Mira collapsed. Her uniform darkened. Her breath faltered. Hall fell silent. No one moved. Even Aerith looked shocked, as if he had not ordered the attack. The guard who fired the shot looked frozen, unsure whether he had followed a command or acted on impulse. Mira's last breath left her lips in a faint whisper. Alec knelt by her. Trembling, he looked up at the Empire delegation. His voice cracked as he spoke. He reminded them of the treaty that forbade any act of violence between their Aerith opened his mouth to speak. But Alec stood first, his eyes locked on the Empire delegation. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He simply sent a single coded signal using his wrist device across the galaxy. Every human station, fleet, and embassy received the same transmission. 3 words: peace is broken. That was all. The Empire delegation reacted with immediate fear. They knew the reputation They knew the ancient stories whispered among species that had encountered humanity before the treaty was forged, stories of a species that survived through impossible odds, stories of a species that did not start wars, but ended them with terrifying finality. The hall filled with movement as both sides withdrew. Alec ordered all human envoys to evacuate. The Empire guards raised their weapons in panic, expecting retaliation. But no retaliation came. Not yet. Alec returned to Myra's body and gently placed a coat over her. His voice was low as he vowed that Earth would answer, but not with rage. With justice news spread across the Empire within hours. A human general had been slain by an Empire soldier inside the Peace Hall. The event shook every allied and neutral system. Some believed Earth would beg for explanation. Others believed Earth would retaliate in fury. They were all wrong. Earth did not respond with chaos. Earth responded with precision. The Terran United Defense activated Protocol Horizon, a policy born 900 years ago, preserved but never used. It dictated that if a treaty were broken by violence, Earth would assume all diplomatic ties were null. Every human fleet was released from restriction. Every defensive system was set to full readiness. The human colonies closed their ports and prepared for a coordinated response. Still, Earth did not attack. They waited for one thing. Truth. Alec arrived on Earth after a silent journey across the stars. He met with the High Council of Earth, a group of leaders representing millions. They listened to every detail. They reviewed evidence collected from the hall. They studied the guard's weapon. They analyzed the movements of the Empire delegates. Then they discovered something astonishing. The shot that struck Mira was not fired by accident, nor was it ordered by Aerith. It was triggered remotely. A signal had been sent from a faction within the Empire that sought to reignite ancient hostilities. They wanted to destroy the treaty because peace threatened their hold on power. This changed everything. Earth did not want war with the Empire as a whole, but they could not ignore the act. 9 centuries of trust could not end with silence. They would confront the Empire, but they would do so with strength and clarity. A massive human fleet arrived at the Empire capital, not with weapons drawn, but in precise formation. Their ships gleamed with reflective plating. Their engines hummed with disciplined synchrony. The display was not intimidation. It was a message. Humanity was awake. Aerith faced them with a fleet of his own. He believed Earth had come for vengeance. He braced for battle instead. Alec himself stepped forward as the human representative. He stood in a transparent shuttle bridge, face calm, posture unwavering. He addressed Aerith directly. He told him the truth. The shot was not the Empire's command. A rogue faction had manipulated events. But Myra was still dead, and the treaty was still broken. Aerith listened. His stance loosened. He asked, "What?" Earth intended. Alec responded with a simple demand. An investigation led jointly by Earth and the Empire, the rogue faction to be hunted down and brought to justice. A formal apology delivered before the galaxy, and a new treaty forged on equal terms. Aerith expected war. He received diplomacy, but not weak diplomacy, human diplomacy still. Pride was a powerful poison. Some in the Empire demanded the human fleet withdraw. Some insisted the Empire owed Earth nothing. Some even accused Earth of fabricating evidence. But Aerith saw the truth. He knew the Empire could not survive a war against humanity. Not because Earth was larger, not because Earth was stronger, because Earth was relentless. When their peace was violated, to test them would be to gamble with extinction. Aerith accepted the demands. A truce meeting was arranged on a neutral star station. Human and Empire analysts worked together. They uncovered the faction responsible, a group of extremists who believed peace weakened the Empire. They were captured after a short pursuit. Their confession was undeniable before the final hearing. Alec carried Mira's memory insignia to the ceremony. It was a small silver emblem shaped like a folded wing, the symbol of Terran honor. He placed it on the central podium in her name. He spoke of her life, her service, her patience. He explained how Mira believed in diplomacy, even when others doubted it. Her belief in peace had guided Earth's restraint. Her loss reminded them why restraint mattered. Earth approached the podium next, for the first time in his reign. His voice trembled. He admitted the Empire had failed to protect the treaty. He acknowledged Earth had responded with honor. He bowed his head in apology. Billions across the galaxy watched. They saw an empire humbled. They saw humanity steady as stone. The new treaty was drafted. It was stronger than the last, clearer laws, shared oversight, mutual defense terms, protections for envoys. Every line written with Myra's memory in mind. But one final action remained. Earth asked that the Peace Hall be rebuilt, not as a monument to the old treaty, but as a shared sanctuary for both species. A place where no weapon could function. A place where Myra's emblem would stand at the entrance. A reminder of the cost of peace. Arath agreed. The hall was rebuilt with combined technology. Its walls shone brighter than before. At the entrance, Myra's emblem rested within a pillar of light. When the hall reopened, Alex stood among delegates. From 50 species, he looked at the emblem. He whispered that Mira would have approved. The galaxy learned a lesson that day. Not the lesson the extremists wanted. Not the lesson of fear, but the lesson of humanity's unique power. A species that could suffer loss,